Hey, Mary, I'm super excited that you are here today and are willing to share your story with us. So, really quickly, who are you, Mary, and what is it that you do?
So I'm Mary Kravitz, and I'm the founder of Simply Get Clients. I started a company that helps business owners, especially service-based business owners, grow their business, generate more clients, and without getting sucked into creating all these online funnels or spending tons of time on social media. So they're not working nights and weekends, but still can grow their business.
And I love that. Love all of that so much for you because who doesn't want to figure it out so they can spend less time doing it, whatever it is, right? So you and I were talking a couple weeks ago, and people will often say, where do you get the idea for this new program, or where did this come from? And so today we are going to share the behind the scenes on how the time rescue analysis program came to be. Because Mary was instrumental, and by instrumental, I mean it was totally and completely her idea of where this came from. And I just kind of fleshed it out into a program. So before we get into the nitty gritty, here's what I want you to know about Mary. If you have not yet met her, you totally should. And the other thing that you should know is that she's super organized. Like she has her stuff together. She looks at her goals, she breaks them down, she makes sure that those goals are in the calendar. I always laugh, like her action plans have action plans. Like she has her stuff together. And a couple of weeks ago while we were talking, she was frustrated. So can you share a little bit about what that frustration was about?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Lisa describes me accurately. I have plans for my plans for my plans, and they all boil down to actions. And the thing is, I get so action oriented that I'm doing all the time. And while I'm really good at breaking things down and looking at the whole schedule and how do I get things done and how do I not work at night and weekends and so forth, I I've worked with Lisa in the past, and I know that one of the things that I value so highly is her ability to like catch my blind spots or help me look at my schedule and my time, not just my schedule and my time, but my energy and my patterns of behavior in a different way. And as I'm moving roles in my company from, trying to be less of a doer and more of a designer, where I'm really stepping into the CEO role, I am having to unlearn a lot right now. So I know that I've got old habits, old patterns, and the blind spots. I just knew that getting that outside perspective would be really, really valuable because I feel like I've really hit a point where I can really say, I don't know what I don't know. And that's where Lisa comes in.
Well, thank you for that. And do you remember at all specifically what it was that you were like, what were you feeling that you're like, I need to move outside of this?
It's just that every week just gets filled up with more. I mean, that's like my default setting. If I have to fix something, it means like my go-to is do more, do more, do more. And not really knowing what to do about it. And with the best of intentions, just 6:30 to 5 are filled up every day. And why does that pattern keep repeating itself? And the thing is that what I knew was that and Lisa and I occasionally work together. I'm like, okay, I have this great idea for how to work my schedule. And I come up with it and I design it. And for good, probably 4 to 6 weeks, it'd be great. And then because we're moving and shaking and growing, it would become almost obsolete so quickly that I just know that no matter how good the plan I come up with, in 6 weeks, things will have changed and I'm going to need to look at it again. I just didn't want to do it alone anymore.
Right. And so those of you who are watching and who can relate to this, because listen to what Mary's sharing with you right now. She had a plan. It was a great plan. It worked. It worked for a while. And then it stopped working, but she didn't recognize right away that it stopped working. She recognized, or the trigger was she was working a lot all the time.
Yeah.
And then she knew, wait a minute, there's something that's not right. Because here's the deal, Mary's smart. Like It's not like she's like, oh, look at that. My calendar is filled with whatever. Like it's so strategic the way that she lays out what she does. She's really smart. And she just started to recognize things were a little, ugh. What would you have done in the past? Like things get stuck. You're not stuck, but you recognize you're working a lot more than what you want. What would you have done?
A variety of different ways. I just write it out. I go, oh, this is just a phase. And it usually is. Um, or I'd rework it. The problem is that now that I'm crunched for time, even figuring out how to rework it, now that's going to take a chunk of time. So I just know that when I get you on board, it's a shortcut. I want the shortcuts.
Right?
So
And
I'd rather spend like an hour, 90 minutes with you than sit down with like my notebooks and my ideas and my calendar. And like, I literally have to take like a Saturday morning and just clear and just pull it all together and then look at my year. And it's just, there's only so far this can get. And so the outside perspective with shortcut.
right. It's a hack. It's your hack
Yes.
to resetting your calendar.
You
So
are my
this,
hack.
yeah,
Yes.
there we go. I'm your hack. So that we may need a new phrase for, but yes, I'm your hack. So that may not be exactly what we wanted to say. However, that being said, this right here was very much our conversation
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. And then in all of Mary's brilliance, she's like, so I feel like you need a program that will help me do this. And I said, absolutely, I'll get that to you today. And then I clicked off Zoom and I thought, what would that look like? And that is where the time rescue analysis program came from, because Mary knows she doesn't need consistent weekly twice a month coaching. She just needs someone to help her spot check once a quarter or so. So that, and so for a while,
yeah.
we were calling this internally in the impactive strategies world with my VAs, the Mary program, until we had a name for it. Because it truly was developed through this conversation.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who are in a similar place to Mary, this is what the time rescue analysis consists of. It's quarterly 90-minute chats. Strategy sessions is probably a better word than chat, but we just talk for 90 minutes about what's going on, how do we fix it, what's broken, what's not broken, because sometimes there are things that are not broken that you think are.
Yeah.
And right, and we can dig in there. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that's one place where I really get up in my own business, where I'm like, oh, no, we got to fix this. We got to fix this. And you're really good at saying, okay, are you, making progress in this area? Does it actually need to be fixed? And that just saves me a lot of time. And I have to tell you, one of the things I like about the quarterly is that I don't feel like I'm constantly having to fix things. And also that 90-minute session, there's space. We don't have to rush and go, okay, it's like, let's unfold this, let's unpack it. And I really feel like the right word, it's not hack, it's recalibrate. And for anyone who is, growing a business or making big changes in a business, whatever it looks like, time and how you interact with it, for me at least, it's impacted like every quarter I have to recalibrate. Probably every month I have to recalibrate, and being able to check in and say, what am I missing? What else could I be considering? How could I delegate better? How could I communicate with my team better? How can I give myself a little credit for what I'm doing and not worry about fixing something that doesn't need fixing? I mean, there's such a wonderful spectrum of things that that are up for consideration. And I love just the space that I have for that now with you.
Yeah. And I love that it was your idea. So this is quite the mutual admiration society going on here. If you are interested in talking more about the time rescue analysis program or wondering more about what that looks like, because not only are there quarterly opportunities to get together for 90 minutes and strategize through your stuff, but also every month I send out some resources that are time management, productivity, effectiveness, efficiency based, different concepts every month to maybe trigger something that you hadn't been thinking of. And then there's email access to me. All of those are included, right?
So wonderful.
In that, and it's just a monthly subscription. So more information will be in the comments below this awesome video. I want to thank Mary for taking the time today to share her experience with you and for being so brilliant a couple of weeks ago to help us come up with a program.